Welcome back to the It's Too Easy podcast. Sorry for missing last week. Got busy, got sick, but ready for another week as we're unwinding for the college football season. Couple weeks to go. So, Jake, what's our slate looking like tonight?
So for college football, we'll start there. First game, have a pretty limited slate because a lot of the games are pretty much nobody teams or lines are really crazy. But I have a decent little slate going. First game, we got South Carolina at Texas A&M. South Carolina, I believe, is 19 and a half point dogs here on the road at Texas A&M. It's going to be a tough place to play. I do think Texas A&M is going to wind up with a win, but I'm just hoping Lenore Sellers will be able to kind of keep them in this game. So I'm going to take South Carolina plus 20 and a half. I feel like this could end up being like a 17 to a 21 point win. So for Texas A&M, so it could end up going either way. But I like taking South Carolina up to 20 and a half and taking it there. If you can get a decent buy at 21 and a half, it might even be a little bit better. Because Texas A&M is definitely going to be the better team. South Carolina, I think, is 3-6 right now. But they've been going through the gauntlet of the SEC, so we'll see how it ends up. But I'm hoping that Lenore Sellers will be able to blow them within 20 points.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I know he's got to get that draft stock back up. He's talked about as one of the best QBs going into the draft, and so he's got to prove it in his potentially three final games of college football. This is a big one. It's the final ranked opponent that they have to play this season. Probably not making a bowl game unless they win out. Not going to happen. I don't think here. A&M should get it done, but I do like South Carolina to find a way to cover 20 points.
Yeah, right on. Moving on, we got Notre Dame and Pittsburgh. Notre Dame's on the road here. I believe 12 and a half point favorites on the road. I do like Notre Dame a lot in this game, but 12 and a half kind of seems like a shaky line. So I'm going to buy it down to 9.5 and take them. This could very well be a 7 point game with the way both these teams are playing. I think Pittsburgh's ranked like number 22 now, 12 in week 12 now. So they're definitely not bad, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to keep close with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be able to take over this game, and they're going to be able to run the ball very effectively. And if they do that, they should win handily. So I'll take Notre Dame at 9.5 here on the road.
Yeah, CJ Carr's developed really well over the course of the year. Started the year pretty bad, and since then he's been able to sling the ball well. And they have just such a good combo in Jeremiah Love and Price out of the backfield, which have been dangerous for them. Their defense is always solid. I expect them to get a couple of turnovers that'll help keep that lead above 10. I do like buying it down to that 10-point line. I could see maybe a backdoor cover from 17 to 10 at the end of the game. But either way, I think Notre Dame should handle them.
Yeah. Moving on, we got Michigan and Northwestern. This is actually a game I'm pretty intrigued in because I believe Michigan's 11 and a half point favorites. Another game that I'm going to buy down to 9.5. I do think Michigan's going to be the better team here. Their quarterback can use his legs, and he's been getting a lot better throughout the season with throwing the ball. Michigan also always really good at running the ball. So I'm going to buy it down to 9.5 and take them on the road here at Northwestern. Northwestern's been one of those Big Ten teams that's really kind of shocked people in certain situations, beating Penn State. Had another big win. I can't remember who it was against. But they've been a decent team. But I just think Michigan at rank 18, they're definitely belonging there. And I think they're going to come away with a win here and kind of keep themselves in this race.
Yeah, they've been interesting. And Michigan's kind of been a question mark all year. But I think they still find themselves at 7-2 or something like that. They've been solid defensively. They run the ball well, which is usual for Michigan. And then Underwood's been decent, nothing special. But I don't think Northwestern's going to be able to put up too much of a fight. So I definitely like the buy down to 10 and seeing Michigan cover by at least two scores.
Yes, sir. Right on. We move on. Got Arizona and Cincinnati. I've been notorious for going against Cincinnati in crazy situations, and then the one game that I do pick them, they end up losing. So here we go again. I'm going to take Cincinnati at home, 7.5 point favorites right now. I'm going to buy it down to 6.5, get a little bit more bang for the buck there if they end up only covering by a touchdown. But yeah, I just don't think Arizona is going to be able to play as good a defense as Cincinnati is, judging on what we've seen so far. So I think buying it down to 6.5 is going to be a good play. I expect Cincinnati to get a win here at home.
Yeah, Arizona's been really shaky, hit and miss all year, especially being on the road. Bit of a ways into Ohio is going to be tough for them. They just haven't really done anything special this year. Fafita's still a little bit undersized, even though I do like him at quarterback for college. So Cincinnati should be able to get it done. Sorsby's in year 5 or 6 now, and it's his last chance before potentially going to the draft. And they have a chance uh, to set them up for a potential CFB run if they can win out. Don't think that'll happen, but they should at least get a win. I'd imagine by a score over Arizona at home.
Yep. Move on. We got West Virginia and Arizona State. Arizona State's at home in this game. I believe they're also 11 or 12 and a half point favorites. They don't have Levitt now for the rest of the season. It's been a bit of a heartbreaker for Arizona State because they've been riddled by injuries, and I think that's really taken them out of contention this year after what was an incredible year with Scadaboo last year. Um, I still like them as a team. I've been all over them all this year, and they've usually paid off pretty well for us. I like them again here at home against West Virginia. West Virginia, talked about it before, really, really not a great team on the road. Seem to just not play nearly as well as they do in front of their home fans. And with the line being pretty low, with Arizona State missing their quarterback, their backup has actually gotten his footing over the last couple games. So I'll take Arizona State minus 9.5 here at home.
Yeah, I like that play as well. Arizona State needs to end it strong, and Jordan Tyson's getting that draft stock up. He'll probably be a first rounder in the coming season.
Has to
Um,
be.
yeah, and then Levitt's out, I think, for the rest of the year. Is that,
Yeah, he got
yeah,
injured. I think he already had surgery.
yeah. I was gonna say I think he's out for the rest of the year, but the backup looks solid in the 2 games that he did get to play. So I think that they should be able to move it decently without him. And Relief Brown's been solid out of the backfield for them most of the season. So I like him to cover 10 as well. West Virginia hasn't been great on the road, and it's a long way to go into Arizona State. So they should get it done by buying it to 10's good play.
Yep. Then probably one of my two favorite games of the week got Oklahoma and Alabama. Alabama's at home in this game. They're only 5.5 point favorites. Another game that I'm gonna have to buy down. I'll have to buy down Alabama to minus 2.5 at home. Um, they just need to keep winning. I mean, this is a team that is starting to really make a name for themselves after that first loss against Florida State. They've really found their footing with Ty Simpson as at quarterback. Must say he's making some really impressive throws, NFL style throws. So for him being a freshman and being able to kind of get this team back on track has been pretty impressive. And the defense has been killer this year. So I expect them to be able to turn Mateer over a couple times if he plays. And I think Alabama will be able to cover the 2.5 without an issue here at home.
I want Oklahoma to win, so I'm gonna buy them to 7, um, and just take them to cover the points. I do think Alabama's the better team at home. Their defense has been awesome, and yeah, you mentioned it. Simpson's been balling. I think he only has 1 turnover since week 1, and so they've been really clean with the ball. They run the ball well. They throw the ball well. Um, Pretty unselfish team, so they've been fun to watch. They should get the win. But I think Oklahoma's got to hang on for dear life. This is the last ditch effort to try and make a push for the playoff, and Mateer is going to come out. I think he's going to ball.
Yeah, this is rank 4 versus rank 11, so there's definitely a lot of CFP implications on that game. NC State at Miami. NC State, I think right now is 16.5 point dogs on the road here at Miami. Miami has lost 2 shocking games to SMU and Louisville so far. So they're definitely not playing as well, I think, as expectations were set with them being ranked so high earlier in the season. NC State beat a really good USF team that was undefeated at home last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, 48-36. So this team can definitely score a lot of points against this Miami defense. I see it being a little bit more difficult. So I do think likely Miami is going to be able to score the ball pretty well. But if NC State's able to get in the end zone 3 or 4 times, I see no problem with them covering 21.5. And Miami does like to run the ball with the lead. So I do expect that NC State will be able to keep themselves within 3 scores.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a pick either way. That seems like a big line, so I don't mind buying it up and taking NC State to cover 20. They've been decent throughout the year. Again, more hit and miss, but they've had some good wins, even especially being at home. So going into Miami will be tough. I think Miami will come away with probably at least a 10-point win, but I wouldn't be surprised if NC State put up a little bit of a fight and covered 20 as well.
Yeah, right on. We got Iowa and USC. Iowa just lost a really tough game at home to Oregon last week. Oregon looked really shaky, but there was a lot that was just going against them in that game, including snow. So it's definitely a little bit of a different atmosphere. So I'm very curious to see how this game goes. USC right now is 7.5 point favorites or 6.5 point favorites here at home. I'm just going to take SC on the money line. I think that they are going to be a team that makes it to the college football playoff. They I think they can still lose one more game to Oregon or possibly UCLA. I don't think that's going to happen. But I still think they can lose one more game and still be in. Just with the teams and the way they've played this season, I think they're a pretty solid team. Three loss will be tough to get in, but they could also beat Oregon. But in order to get there, they have to beat this Iowa team at home. And SC again plays a lot better at home. So I'm just going to stick with the Trojans here on the money line at the Coliseum.
Yeah, I think they'll get it done at home. I think that they'll probably win by at least 7 as well. Iowa's got a really good defense, and I think they showed that last week. But they definitely play a hell of a lot better at home than they do on the road. So obviously, almost got it done. Thankfully, Oregon was able to pull it off at the end, but that was a battle. But it was at home again for them, and the weather's getting cooler out there. Now we're going to SoCal. USC plays well at the Coliseum. They should be able to score efficiently, but their defense is Swiss cheese. So we'll see how well Mark
Yeah.
Gronowski is able to do. He runs the ball a lot, and I think that they need to just hand the ball off and let the running back run it if they want to have a chance to keep the game close. Because I don't think USC is going to have too much of a problem moving the ball against this team.
Yeah, I think for the SC offense, the struggles could be in the run game. Iowa's been pretty solid on the rush defense side, but I think Oregon just put up the most rush yards against an Iowa team in like 15 years last week. So if SC is able to kind of watch that tape and get an idea of what they're going to do, hopefully they'll be able to move the ball as well on the running side. And hopefully they'll get a few of those running backs back from injury. But yeah, I think SC is a solid play here in this game. Then we got Virginia and Duke. Virginia is ranked 19, I think, right now. Um, and they're 4.5 point dogs here on the road at Duke. And that kind of caught me by surprise. I think I'll probably just end up taking the obvious play, which is Virginia plus 4.5. But Duke has been playing pretty well against decent teams, so they're definitely not a bad team, but they're not consistent whatsoever. So I think as long as Virginia has a solid plan going into this game, they shouldn't have a problem getting a win. I do think they're a decent buy there on the money line. You can probably get decent plus money there, maybe like plus 150 or plus 175 on some books. So I think that's definitely a play that people are going to want to look at. But I'll stick with Virginia plus 4.5 here on the road at Duke. I think if Duke wins, I mean, even it'll probably just be by like a field goal or maybe even overtime. Virginia loves overtime games, so we'll see where it happens. But yeah, I like Virginia plus 4.5 for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that Virginia should win. So I was kind of surprised seeing that line as well. And because of that, I'm going to take the plus 4.5. I might even buy it to 6 just in case it goes to an overtime again. And they lose off a touchdown at the end. Then 6 points would at least get you covered there. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Mensal's been solid for Duke this year. They've definitely been better at home. But again, Chandler Morris and Virginia have been solid. They've had some really good wins, and I feel like they show up against good teams. And the few losses that they have, they've been in it for the most part. So I do think they'll at least cover, if not come away with a win on the road at Duke.
Yeah. Well, move on. We got Memphis and East Carolina. I didn't really have any early reads on this game, but I did see Memphis beat a really good team a couple weeks ago, and I saw that I think they were maybe like 2.5 or 3.5 point dogs. I think in this game. So I love the plus money on buying Memphis at the money line in this game. I think they're going to be a much better team than East Carolina. East Carolina has also played a couple decent teams, so they definitely have a little bit of that experience, but they did lose all three of them. So I do think that this is another one of those situations where they're playing another decent team, and Memphis can score the ball in a hurry. So I'm expecting Memphis to get it done here on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I've been actually surprised at how well East Carolina's been playing this season, but obviously they played BYU tough but lost. Played NC State tough and lost. And I forget who the other one was, but they lost that one as well. So Memphis is a good team. They run the football really well, and they can throw it. It's not where they live and die. But I think that running the game is going to help them extend drives, run a lot of clock off, and then they always finish with touchdowns. So I think that that'll continue. They'll probably come away with a win, but I'll take the plus 3.5 on the road at East Carolina.
Yep, right on. Then we got Florida and Ole Miss. Game that I was initially pretty back and forth on. I think Ole Miss is 14.5 point favorites in this one, maybe 13.5 point favorites. They're at home. Florida did just lose a really ugly game last week. I can't remember who it was to, but it was not a pretty game. I think it was
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah, 31-7 or something like that. Not a great look for Florida. Their season's kind of shot, and that program's actually in quite a bit of shambles ever since the Tebow era. So I am very curious to see kind of where this game ends up. But I'm going to take Ole Miss down to 9.5 and take them here. They're another team that also plays really well at home. But it scares me as hell, like a bat to hell to take them at minus 13 or 14.5 because every time I've taken them at the regular line, the other team ends up covering on a bad time touchdown with like 30 seconds left. So I'll just buy Ole Miss down to 9.5. I think they should be able to cover that at home here against Florida, and hopefully that defense can get a couple turnovers and the offense will just keep rolling.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. I think that Ole Miss is really trying to fight for their college football playoff, and that means that they need to finish the season with some strong wins. So I would expect them to go out there and get a big win against Florida to help improve that status. But Florida, even so, has been kind of banged up all year, got rid of their coach. But their defense has been solid throughout the year, which is one thing that would scare me from taking it at 15, 16 points. So I think buying it down to 9 is going to be a good play for this week.
Yeah, I think you make a solid point about Ole Miss needing a big win here because Florida did just beat this Texas team, and if these are two of the teams that are ranked 10 through 12, I think that the nod will go to Ole Miss just because they have a better win against the Florida team that beat this Texas team. So I think that definitely has a lot of playoff implications as well. Then we got Utah and Baylor. Utah, I believe, is 7.5 point favorites or 6.5 point favorites on the road here at Baylor. I'm going to take it at 6.5. Utah has been a solid team so far this year. Their defense continues to get better and better, and overall, it's just a great program in terms of defense. And I expect them to be able to slow down Sawyer Robertson a little bit, at least in the passing game. And I'm not sure how well Baylor runs the ball, but Utah's defense should be able to stick with them. On the offensive side, Baylor's defense is, like you said, Swiss cheese. So I think that Utah is going to be able to run the ball all over them, and they'll be able to control this game start to finish. So I'm going to take Utah minus 6.5 here on the road.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. I love Sawyer Robertson and Baylor. He throws it for 400 every game, so it's hard not to like it. But that's not really winning football. You win it by running the ball, and I think Utah's going to be able to do that better. They should be able to get some stops. So I think I like buying Utah down to maybe 3 or 4. Probably taking it at 3. I kind of want to also buy up Baylor to 10, so I'll probably just stick with buying Utah down to 3, playing it there because it is going on the road. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sawyer threw for 400, but probably has 2 picks in there, which help give Utah a win on the road.
Yeah, very very much could see that happening. Might look into a player prop there for Robertson to throw an interception and have over 350 yards. It's very 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 possible. Probably get great plus money there as well. Texas and Georgia. Texas is 5.5 point dogs here on the road at Georgia. They've been slowly getting better as the season goes on. Arch is getting a true shot at a full season at quarterback, and obviously it's not been pretty at all this season. But their defense has also been very good throughout the season, and typically they've been better at home. But Georgia's also not anything really I think to write home about this year. They've won a lot of really close games, and they do manage to find ways to win. But I see them struggling here with this Texas team. So I'll buy Texas up to 7.5 and take it. This is a game where I actually could see overtime or just a really tight game to the end, back and forth, back and forth. If not, maybe Texas goes down 10 or 14 points and makes a comeback in the fourth quarter. But I see this one being a pretty tight game, and I think that the Texas Longhorns should be able to cover 7.5.
Yeah, they got back to running the football well, playing really solid defense, and then Arch, like you said, has gotten a little bit more confident the last few weeks. He's been slinging the rock, and yeah, you also touched on Georgia just hasn't been that solid. They gave up 30 plus, and I can't tell you how many games this year, but a lot more than we're used to seeing. Their defense hasn't been great. Their offense has been pretty solid, starting with Gunnar Stockton. Using his legs, I think, has been a big factor in that, and I think that that's going to be slowed down by a solid Texas defense, which is going to allow them to potentially get some turnovers and keep it interesting. Texas also needs this win bad to hang in there at that 2 loss because they still got A&M to finish off the year, who's still undefeated. So if they have any chance at getting to the playoff, it's going to start with a win this week. So I also like buying it up to at least cover 7 to make it interesting.
Yeah, right on. Then we move on. Last couple, we got Mississippi State and Mizzou. Mississippi State's actually been a pretty solid team this year. Their record may not show it, but they've played a lot of really good teams tough. They've had a lot of ranked games, so I think a lot of people are going to knock them for not winning. But I mean, what can you do with the teams that they're playing? Just a lot of programs that have the NIL behind them and the rosters kind of follow. Um, but then again, the books are giving them a little bit of respect. Mizzou's only 6.5 point favorites here at home against this Mississippi State team. I like Mizzou a lot. I've just really loved watching this team play. Um, Definitely one of my favorite teams outside of Oregon to watch, just because when they're on, they're really good. So I'm expecting them to have a really good game here and set themselves up for a potential college football playoff run as well. So I'm going to take Mizzou at -6.5. I do think that there is a chance that this is going to be a really tight game to the end. But either way, I do see Mizzou being able to cover touchdown.
Yeah, they've been pretty good this year. Bo Prabula has been solid at quarterback for them. I thought he got hurt, so I don't know if
I think
he'll.
he did actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be playing or not because I was kind of thinking he had a season-ending injury. But they have been solid defensively. They've been well coached for a couple years now, finding ways to get wins and continuing to make a playoff push and at least get in bowl games. And so I do like that play for them to win, probably covering 6 as well.
Yeah. And then last game on the slate, we got TCU and BYU. Battle of the Mormons versus the Christians. So let's see where this one goes. BYU right now, I believe, is 3.5 or 4.5 point favorites at home in this game. I'm going to buy them down to 2.5. I love BYU at home. We've loved them at home all year. They need this win to kind of propel themselves into the college football playoff scenario, and this would be a solid win for them. Now that they have that one loss, it is looking a little bit more shaky for all of the voters, just because they haven't played the best of teams. I'm not going to say they haven't had a tough schedule because they've actually played some really good teams. But that one loss is just looking like a little bit too much of a blemish now. But I love them at home here in this game, so I think BYU -2.5 is a lock. And I actually do think taking the 4.5 or even up maybe up to 5.5 at plus money might be really good as well. So yep, I'm gonna ride with BYU.
Yeah, it's really hard for teams to go into Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Place is always rocking. It's going to be a bit colder now that we're getting later into the season. And yeah, I just don't think TCU's shown that much this year. They've had a couple good games. They started the year a little bit hotter, cooled off since then a bit, and BYU's been really solid. Bears been confident all year long. Gone in on the road, gotten some big dubs, and plays even better at home. They have the vets in Chase Roberts and LJ Martin receiving and running the football for them. Their defense is solid. And Parker Kingston's been stepping up. Yeah, they just have weapons all over the field that I love. And so getting a win at home is going to happen. It's just going to be a matter of how much are they going to win by. I do think it um, could be closer, but I do think they'll probably blow them out. So I'm going to take the -4.
Yeah, right on. That wraps it up for college football. Week number 12. So here we go. Last couple of weeks for college football. We're going to be back shortly with NFL video. Probably get the NFL video out quicker. But yeah, stay tuned and make sure you guys are liking, subscribing on the videos. We really appreciate all the support. Once again, sorry for not making it last week. I had a little bit of sickness and just got really busy with work for both of us. So apologize for that. But yeah, we're glad to be back this week. We will see you next week with more CFB. Peace.